Clark. I mean, that's clearly...
The WNBA saw a major and divisive incident involving Chicago Sky's Kennedy Carter and Indiana Fever rookie Caitlin Clark on the 3rd of June 24. Carter fouled Clark, falling to the ground at this very high-stakes game, several of which have been described as a flagrant foul or even assault. This incident spurred a lot of discussion on player safety as well as the more general consequences of gender and race in sports. The activity involved quickly labeling it as contentious. Some even described Carter's foul on Clark as a hip check, and it was seen as a symptomatic of a growing league conflict. Since her outstanding college experience at Iowa, Caitlin Clark has been a shining example of talent and attention bordered most of this growing hostility. Many felt Carter's foul to be cowardly and opportunistic. More broadly, it begged important issues regarding the physical nature of women's basketball and the required steps to shield outstanding players from deliberately being hostile. The responses were loud and quick. Fans, reporters, and fellow athletes voiced great indignation, driven by labels of cowardice and demands for harsher sanctions and protections for Caitlin Clark. Fans descended upon social media in numbers. The strong reaction for Carter included many asking for quick disciplinary proceedings and challenging WNBA standards generally on player safety.
I was wondering if you think, now that that foul was upgraded to a flagrant foul, do you think Kennedy, Carter owes you an apology, public apology of some sort after what happened?
No. I mean, basketball's competitive. I get it. Sometimes your emotions get the best of you. It happened to me multiple times throughout the course of my career. People are competitive. It is what it is. She's having a tremendous season. She's played great basketball in my eyes. Probably in first place for 6th player of the year. She's been great off the bench for them. I think she had 25 here last night and really helped them win the game. So, and that's just not where my focus is. That's not what I think about on a day-to-day basis. I think about my team. I think about ways that I can get better. And it's just basketball at the end of the day. There's no grudges, there's nothing like that. It's a sport, it's competitive. It's not gonna be nice all the time. That's not what basketball is, and I think people that play that at the highest level understand that.
But Clark's team's response received conflicting opinions. Some supporters felt let down by the Indiana Fever's lack of obvious support for Clark during the game. This view sparked more conversation on team dynamics, cohesiveness, and the show of solidarity under duress. Later on though, the Fever's players and management openly denounced the foul and strengthened their will to defend their colleagues. The coach of Fever, Christy Sides, underlined the need for the league to adopt a strong position against too aggressive behavior and guarantee player safety. In the aftermath, the media helped to frame the event in several ways. While some sources focused on the obvious physicality of the foul, others dug into the racial implications buried in the stories. Respected sports pundit Michael Wilbon advocated honest conversation on these delicate subjects, stressing Caitlin Clark's non-position at the nexus of race and gender in athletics. Wilbon's opinions represented a larger perspective that the media had to carefully negotiate these dialogues to prevent spreading divisive narratives in the league with a majority black membership. The league's initial reaction was under much scrutiny. Kennedy Carter's action was later examined, and the foul was escalated by the WNBA from first assessment as a common foul to a flagrant 1 violation. This action was considered a good start in appreciating and tackling the physical risks players run.
The refs called it a common foul, but the league yesterday upgraded the call to a flagrant foul.
Her and Carter were jawing a little bit back and forth the last few possessions.
The two were seen before the play, exchanging words at the other end of the court. Carter refused to answer questions about the foul after the game.
I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions.
But later, Carter saying this on social media. Besides three-point shooting, what does she bring to the table?
I think at this point, I know I'm going to take a couple hard shots a game.
Clark's coach calling the foul unacceptable.
That was a non-basketball play that happened.
Many online criticized the foul, tennis great Martina Navratilova saying this is not okay. Some comparing it to this hit on rookie Angel Reese from Alyssa Thomas, which got Thomas ejected from the game. Others say tough hits are just part of the game. Caitlin is grown and in a grown woman's league. She'll be all right, said one observer. Clark, before last night's game against the Liberty, seemed to agree.
I grew up playing the basketball with the boys, so like it's always been physical and feisty, and like that's what it is, and you got to find a way to hold your own, so it kind of reminds me of that. And then I grew up with two brothers, and things were about very, very physical, a lot of blood, a lot of tears.
Following the game, Angel Reese of the Chicago Sky was fined $1,000 for not making herself available to the media. The team paid a $5,000 fine for not making sure players followed league media policies. These acts underline the WNBA's will to keep honesty and openness in its activities. The conversations around Caitlin Clark turned center on the junction of race and gender, being a well-known white participant in a field dominated by black athletes. Clark's experiences have spurred significant discussions about historical backgrounds and social issues in sports. Some analysts noticed that stories about Clark sometimes mirror society's predisposition to show white women as needing protection in mostly black environments. This dynamic draws attention to a more general social problem outside of the sports field and begs questions regarding how race shapes opinions of player safety and aggressiveness. More broadly, Clark's remarkable performance and rising profile have had a polarizing effect. Although she has drawn a lot of attention and fresh supporters from the league, her growing reputation also highlighted the brutality she encounters from rivals. This dualism addresses the difficulties encountered by many female athletes negotiating a demand and sometimes harsh environment. The episode involving Caitlin Clark was not a one-off. It sparked a more general question on the growing physicality in women's basketball as the game gets more competitive. Recognizing that the league's rough and tumble reputation must change to safeguard its players, many fans and analysts have urged the WNBA to adopt a more aggressive posture on player safety. The WNBA has responded by beginning policies meant to improve player safety. The league's investment in charter flights for teams, motivated in part by Clark's high profile and the more attention she brings to the league, marks one notable change. These developments show a recognition of players' need for a more resource and support, especially as the league's profile and income increase. The league is also reviewing its policies against physical plays and fouls, stiffer fines for risky plays, and being developed to protect player welfare. This covers improving referee training so they may quickly spot and punish violent acts. Through these actions, the WNBA hopes to establish a safer and more fair playing field for every athlete. Furthermore, the aftermath of this event has echoed in conversations about helping WNBA rookies. The horrific experiences of Caitlin Clark emphasizes the difficulties fresh athletes have adjusting to the toughness and demanding expectations of professional basketball. Although Clark's circumstances are not unusual, the increased attention on her has highlighted these problems and demands a review in how league develops its new players. The discourse around Clark's experience has exposed even a more complex politics of race and gender inside the league. As a white woman confronting violent play in a mostly black league, Caitlin Clark finds her experiences distorted by society, sometimes biased prism. Both supporters and critics have voiced worries about how support for Clark can unintentionally encourage divisive or racist connotations. The situation has raised awareness and inspired closer study on how gender and race interact in sports stories. Notable players in the basketball scene have shown their support of a fair conversation. NBA stars like LeBron James and Charles Barkley have underlined the need to safeguard players in order to create a fair and civilized competition. Such sponsorships are essential in motivating group efforts towards upholding the league's integrity while confronting racial and gender stereotypes. The episode has made the WNBA's leadership very much underlined and driven them to act practically to safeguard its players. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has recognized the need of a comprehensive strategy to protect the welfare of the participants without suppressing the competitive spirit defining the game. Although it is difficult to strike a balance between guaranteeing safety and letting strong competition, one the league has to address squarely. Additionally suggested are instructional courses for athletes on the effects of their behavior both on and off the court. This initiative speaks to foster a society of mutual respect and understanding, therefore lowering the possibility of unwarranted hostility. Furthermore, under discussions are essential elements of these programs are mental health resources and support networks for athletes under public criticism. Furthermore, worthy of consideration are the more general culture changes within the league. WNBA players' conduct and behavior off the court are also under examination as they grow more public and powerful. This changing dynamic calls for a more sophisticated approach to keep the league's good name and control public impressions. The incident's discussions have made clear how important a conversation approach is for addressing problems and creating a friendly environment for every participant, regardless of background of popularity. Among the chaos, Caitlin Clark has handled things with amazing grace. At first, concentrating on her game, her final thorough comments squarely addressed the negative stories. Clark has positioned herself as a strong supporter of fair play and equality in sports. And that was by addressing accusations of dirty play and opposing the sexist and racial undertones used by detractors. Her all-encompassing approach to handling the incident, balancing appeals for decorum with assertiveness, has won appreciation from many directions. Her remarks regarding adjusting to the physical demands of professional basketball highlights the competitive character of the game. It reminds us, as part of their professional path, players, especially those in the public eye, often encounter aggressive play. By facing these obstacles head-on, Clark not only supports her style of play, but also restates her will to preserve the purity of the game. The way the WNBA approaches going ahead will be very crucial. First of importance is addressing physicality in sports so that it stays an interesting and competitive arena. Strong policies, harsh penalties for infractions, and player-supporting infrastructure will all be part of this balance. The league also has to keep an encouraging honest communication on the intricate interactions between gender and race in sports. Maintaining a positive conversation that gives players safety and integrity of the sport top importance for all stakeholders, from coaches, players to supporters and commentators. Key components of these initiatives will be attempts to improve referee training and support, as well as more severe applications of player safety regulations. The way the WNBA responds to this occurrence will set standards for addressing problems going forward. The league can guarantee that competitive spirit is maintained and provide a safer environment for all players by adopting a proactive and inclusive attitude. The episode involving Caitlin Clark and Kennedy Carter will define the WNBA in 2024. It has spurred significant debates about player safety, race, and gender inside the league, therefore influencing real-world changes and re-evaluating of league rules. Dealing with these difficult problems will be crucial to guarantee the WNBA's integrity and future success, as it keeps rising in stature and awareness. The experiences of Caitlin Clark help to clarify the difficulties that WNBA emerging players confront. She is a young, gifted athlete who has drawn media and fan attention. She has found herself negotiating a terrain full of increased expectations, scrutiny, and occasionally opponent aggressiveness. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe for more exciting content.